Hello everyone, welcome back to the third module of our AI engineering crash course. In this video, we'll talk about Google API. So we'll go through everything Google has to offer, and including the new model, the OpenAI integration, and all of the possibilities that you have with your model. So right before, in the first two modules, we talk about AI and AI engineering in general in the introduction module, and then we went through prompt engineering. And for the third module, we talked about OpenAI, Anthropic, and now we're talking about Google. In the next videos, we'll talk about Grok, XAI, DeepSeek, open source frameworks, or open source model hosting platforms, as well as frameworks. So let's get started. So as you can see here, we still have the Anthropic and OpenAI folder. So let's just close this terminal. We need to create a new folder for Google. So let's call it Gemini. Okay. So in this, we, as usual, need the requirements of txt, the .env, and the main.py. Okay, with that, we just need to come here in our .env, create a Google API key, which is an empty string for the moment. And then we open a new terminal. Okay, we go into Gemini. Then, as usual, we need to create a virtual env. So we do Python env, venv. Then we do source venv/bin/activate to activate our virtual environment. We get it here now. And then we need to put all our requirements here. We basically have the same thing. Just take this, put it here, but we need to change this line here. And we need the new Google API. So let me grab it quickly. Yes, so we have it here. We just need this here. And then we install our packages. So Python, pip install requirements. Okay, so when it's downloading the requirements, we can come in here. We need to put our API key here. Let me show you how to get your API key. So it's pretty simple. You come to AI Studio. You will find this Google Studio. And here you have this simple button here, get API key, and then create. It's actually in French, but the button will be the same, create an API key. So it takes some time to create the key. And then we click on copy, close this. Then we paste it here. Okay, this is our key. Now here, we need to do different things, okay? The first thing I need to show you here is how you can use Google without changing a lot in your code. So if you're working with OpenAI, we did a really long video about OpenAI. You will find the link in the playlist in the description. And you know and love the OpenAI API, you can use it completely from scratch by changing few lines to get everything that you have from Google from the OpenAI API. Same for other providers. So what we need to do is what you see here, this initialization, actually the same code. Everything we did here is actually possible with Google. Okay, so let me just show you this. By the way, to do that, I forgot we need the OpenAI requirements here as well, the version and the package. So we need to add it here and start the requirements again. We'll directly get it from cache, I think. Okay, so here you will see that we need to change few things here. The first thing is this key. Instead of the OpenAI API key, we need I think I call it Google, right? Google API key. So we change it here first. You need to pass more variables. There's a variable called base URL. And this base URL will be pointing to Google. So we just say this. This means every request going through the OpenAI API here will be heading to this endpoint here. And this endpoint is actually from Google. So they have this beta support for OpenAI for you to be able to switch from OpenAI to Google by changing only here, which means everything you did or you completed with OpenAI, you can do basically the same with Google. So let me show you how. Okay, let me give you a quick example. Let's grab an example from here. As you can see here, copy it from the OpenAI code and we paste it here. Okay. We have the model, but this model here needs to change because Google do not have a GPT-4o. Google has Gemini. We can have the 1.5 or the 2.0. We can just put the 1.5 here. And yeah, with that said, we have the system and we can directly add the user part here. Tell me more about you. Okay, so if we save this and we print the response, we clear this and we do Python main.py. Oh yeah, for comma. I hope I did. Okay, great. So we do it again. And you will magically see that we get directly a response. But if you read it, it will say here, I am a large language model trained by Google. And what's funny is that we're using the OpenAI API, right? So this is quite powerful. If you want to switch between different models, you just need to switch the base URL and you will see how this is extremely used in the industry in the next video. But for now, we have this. You can do function calling and many, many other things that you do with OpenAI directly with Google, and they are fully supported. Yes, so as you can see here, to get this, we need to just go to choices, the index 0, and then message, and then content. We get exactly our message. Yeah, and you can basically do a lot of things with it. Almost everything you do with OpenAI, simple text generation API, chat API. Yeah, but I will also show you a second way of doing things, which is actually working with the Gemini API directly. We have much more powerful feature that OpenAI does not support that we can do with the Gemini API. So let's delete everything here and create a new client. So we first remove this because I need this. We need to, from Google, Gen AI. And then for the client, we just need something like this. We load the env, and then here we do os.environment of Google API key. Okay. Now we can use this client to ask things to the model. But what is pretty weird is that for Google, you have for the Google base API, you have something that's quite different from other providers. You will see that Entropic is quite close to OpenAI, same for Drog, XAI, and DeepSeek. But the Google client is quite different. I think the reason is that Google released their model and their API between the same time. They couldn't follow the OpenAI specification or the OpenAI way of doing things at that moment. So they created something completely different. And now they're trying to get back to it by using the method that I showed earlier. But now your way to generate this is actually to just, let me just show you, use this, for example, we'll use the latest model, the Gemini 2.0 Flash. Seems to be less expensive. And we'll just say, tell me more about you. So here's the model as usual. And this content here, it is quite, I don't know how to say that. You will see that with other models, you need to pass an array of conversations somehow. But here you have the generate content. This generate content is not a chat model. It is a completion model. We'll go through the chat model a bit later, but you directly pass the question or the user input here, and you'll get a response based on that. So let me just print the response. Clear. Taking some time, and you see we get something a bit different here. So we have candidates, we have content, and in content we have, if we get a video, if we get code execution, and we'll see that in the upcoming part of this video. But here you have text, and this text is actually a large language model trained by Google. Same thing, just that in this part of the code, we actually used the base Google API. Okay, so now we can do many other things with this. So here you saw a completion model. It's just completing text. And then now if you want to do a chat, you need to change the way you call the model. So here you will see, instead of client.model, you instead use client.chat, and instead of generate content, you will use create. So let me show you that. So what you need to do is create a chat model. When you have the Gen AI, you delete this like this, you paste this. Okay, chat is equal to client.chat.create. This create a new chat, and you will see that the way Google did it is quite interesting, because they help you a lot with processing an array of conversations and things. But it's also drawback, because you will not support or you will not have the flexibility to deal with which content, which context you passed to the model. But let me show you how. You come here and you just ask something like this. So response is equal to chat.send message. Okay, so this is you sending some message to the model. It can be, hey, what's up? And then you get the response and you send another message. You will see that with Google, the structure is quite different. With others, you need to keep an array with user, role, assistant, and other. But here, you print the response. Response.text. And you can directly ask something else, like, okay, tell me more about you now. Like, tell me more, let's say, how can I Google, something like that. Of course, you shouldn't do this, but just for the sake of the tutorial, let's try it. And you will see now that, and if I say my channel is Altifin, let's say add something else here. And what is my channel name? Okay. You will see that it's taking the context from up there. You'll understand that it's actually getting the conversation from the last message. So let's save this, try it again. Okay, you see here. So you are Altifin on YouTube or another platform, or let's say YouTube, and then your channel name is Altifin. You'll see that the first message has been sent to the model and kept by Google, okay, for this conversation. And when you send the second one, the context from the last conversation is actually automatically added to your conversation. So you have recurrent caching of the conversation. So you don't have to send array over and over again. I think that's quite interesting. Could have been great as a standard, but it's a bit less flexible for you as a developer. So now you can look through the chat history and print it or something like that. To do that, you need to come here and do for message in the chat dot curated history. You can directly print maybe message dot text. okay, it will print all the messages that we have in the conversation. So maybe I need to, yeah, should be fine. If we try this again, let's first, okay, if we try this again, okay, you will see that here. Maybe I need some printing or something. Okay, you will see that it's saying hey there, and then hey there twice, and then your channel is and your channel is, okay. So you can actually get access to your S3 as well, and print it if you want to. And if you see here, for example, it's saying, hey, what's my channel name? Which is my question here. You can actually get the role as well. It's pretty simple. It's just message.role, like this, message.role, okay? Yes, so this is the way you actually create a chat model with the Google API. Okay, so with that, you may be asking yourself, where do we actually provide the system prompt? Because so far we just made a conversation. We didn't direct the model to do something, okay? And to do that, we have a key parameter that we pass to the generate content. So let me show you. Let me go back to the other model. We can do it directly here as well, like this. Pass a comma here, and then we pass config. This config help a lot with many things, but let's start with types that generate content config. And then what we need to pass is here system instruction is equal to. Now we can directly pass the system instruction. It can be you funny, only make jokes. Okay, so now if you come back here, let's say we delete this part, we just need to first message, and then we run this again. Ah, yes, of course, I forgot to import. So we need to do here from google.geni import types. Okay, and try this. Okay, elephants look like a brand of vitamin C designed to help you procrastinate, take one, anyway, some kind of job. And you can see that you can change it here directly with the system prompt. Okay, so with that said, let me quickly show you something as well. It is your capability to directly get this chat model and actually stream the response. To do that, instead of send message, you call a function called send message stream. And to handle it, you will get here some chunks, and you just need to do for loop. Same for as with OpenAI, chunk in response. And then you will do some chunk the text here. Okay, and it will show you the chunk. So let me just quickly show you here. You see that it's giving it chunk by chunk, right? Okay, so I think we can also pass a temperature here if we want to. And for that, we need to come to the generative config here. And here, as I mentioned, I think from the introduction, I'll talk about the temperature and why it's important. So once again, the link to the playlist in the description. What you do here is just put temperature to control the randomness of the model. Okay, our temperature is equal to 0.9 maybe. And you can also pass a maxed output token. It's equal to this, for example. Okay. Oh, not taking into account this 0.1 and max output tokens is equal to this. Okay, so this will actually give you the same result, but it will be less random when you run it multiple times. It will be more deterministic, and here it will limit the return output to this size here. Okay, so I think we went through the basic of the completion model and the chat model. So now let me show you something pretty interesting from Google. So sometimes you may have use cases where the output needs to be accurate, and you may need to execute some code to actually calculate something. So for example, let's say you want exponential of 500, right? Python will do it quite well, but the AI itself may struggle to do that. Google came up with some concept called code execution that lets you prompt the model to execute some code if you ask for some instruction that needs maybe veracity or that can be computed with the code. So let me show you how. It's just actually a tool that you add to your to this config here. You have type generate content config, and here we pass a parameter called tools. We'll use the same letter for function calling. So this is kind of function calling, type those tool, and we pass here code execution is equal to types dot tool code execution. Okay, so what will this do if you just say here what is exponential of, I don't know if that's too much, factorial, that's too much. Let's say this maybe. Okay, and then here we don't stream the response, we just get the response. We don't need to stream it. We get directly here response. Okay, and then let's run this and match this. Okay, I think we had some issue here. Okay, we have a trading comma somewhere. By the way, this is quite expensive because it needs to run sometimes multiple iteration to get the right answer. So use it only when you need it. Okay. Yeah, with that said, let me see. I think we had an issue somewhere. Okay, yes. I think here we need models generate content. And we pass the model. Okay. We pass the configurations, okay, and then we call it chat.send. No, we don't need the chat.send anymore because we are not in the chat model, so we can directly get it here. So we can call this response. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't know how it went there. It's pretty hard to debug. Okay, so it's saying client.generate content. Missing one required parameter called contents. Yes, we need content here. Okay, almost forgot. So we just say you are Mac expert. We can, okay, and then we pass this here as contents. Then we wait. Okay, so you will see here that we have a code execution result. Okay, this code execution result gave us an output, and this output is pretty long. So it used code to actually calculate that. And what's quite interesting is that if we come here, you will see that it used Python. Okay, and you have the code that has been called here, import math, factorial this, equal to this, and print factorial this. So you can actually print what you get from the code execution part, and which is quite interesting if you want to do things that requires your model to make accurate calculations or execute code on the fly, you can use a code execution tool from Google. Yes, so now we talked about chats. We need to talk about document support. We saw that only OpenAI do not support document support. Anthropic supports document. And Google also supports documents, and that's quite simple. I just say PDF file is equal to, let me check some PDF online. I think we can use the Anthropic PDF link. Where is it again? Assets, this, Claude 3. Okay, great. We just paste it here. Okay. And then what we need to do is either we get the content with HTTPX. So for that, we say doc is equal to HTTPX, and we need to import that. That get PDF file, that content, and we import HTTPX. Yes. Okay, and now we need to come here in the content part. Instead of passing this, we pass an array, and then here you will have this type like this, where this is actually our doc that we have here. Okay, this is a type application PDF, and we need the last part, which is actually a question, and the question will be, let's say, which model has the highest win rate? Use case here. Okay, so we can delete this config here. We don't need it. We just need this. Okay, I think we're printing the response. Fine. So let's run it. Okay, you'll see that here we have document Claude 3.5 Sonnet. You'll see that this is actually coming from, you don't see any Claude here. So it's actually coming from the Claude document here, the Anthropic document here. So the model is actually able to get the PDF directly and extract key information from this PDF. Okay, and what you have with Google that you don't have with other providers is the context window. You can pass documents that are extremely large. This document is actually pretty simple. You can pass like 90 pages documents because they have 1 million max context windows length. So you can pretty much work with really large documents and directly get them into your model and maybe chat with the document directly. With that said, we need to talk about some generic things. But before that, we need to talk about function calling. The way Google do function calling is quite different as well. And I would say it's original and good. Same for the chat, history. So the way you do that is that you define the function. Okay, let's say def play Spotify song title. You need to pass types here. So string, and it returns string. I don't know. Okay. Then now we just print I am playing song title. Okay. And return this. So the way you do it is quite simple. You come here in your model, and this config is actually the key. So we can comment this and comment this part. We don't need it anymore. We'll need it later. We have the model, of course. And for that, instead of this, what we need is something like this, okay? And here we have a key called tools, where we can pass an array of functions. Here we'll call play Spotify, okay? And then we have another parameter called automatic function calling that we can disable or enable. The name is quite explicit. Yeah. And then tool config, okay? Here where we have the tool config, okay, function calling config mode any. So this actually forces the model to call functions instead of chatting. Okay, so if you ask now in the content, play, I don't know, play Kendrick, not like us. Okay, we have, yes, oh, forgot. Okay, model generate content code and expected content. Where is it? It's content. Automatic function calling disabled is set to true, but automatic function calling max remote is set to be a positive number 10. If you want to enable, okay. But anyway, you'll see here that we have a name, place 45, and a function, place 45, where is it? With the song Not Like Us. So you will call that function with the song Not Like Us. And if you see what we did with OpenAI, we had to clearly define the function and the arguments, but here we just directly pass the function, and Google will extract the key information that you can pass to the function and execute. So that's quite interesting compared to how other models actually do function calling. What is also interesting is that you're not limited to only doing this kind of function calling. You can call other functions from Google, like the Google search tool. And that's pretty interesting if you want to get a reference from what you're doing. So, and for that, we need the tools again, but but not this kind of tool. So we need to go back to the way we did tools before here. Okay, so it's this generate content and tools here, tools, and then here we call it Google search. It's type.google search referral. Okay, so you come here, you run it. String. Okay, I think I made some mistake here. Don't need it anymore. So let's select this, and then should be fine. I think we don't have content. Yeah, we need contents. How compare OpenAI and Google and Gemini? Okay. Okay. So you can see here that we have some kind of HTML and some kind of web page from the suggestion from Google, but the result is actually quite far. But you will see that a huge part of this actually comes from Google, and you will have the reference for it. Let me show you here. You see it? This here. Grounding metadata. You have the vertex. This link here. You have many links actually as reference for your search, which is something that's quite interesting when you want to get information directly from Google to use in your app. Okay, so I think with that we went through everything we can do with Google. We have other things that we can actually do, but you can directly see it in the documentation. So maybe I'll put the link in the description. But in general, the essential topic we discussed already. Yeah, so I think so far we went through everything. Function calling, Google search, context window, prompting, chat, text compilation. Yeah, I think it was everything. So yeah, so I think we will close it right here, and yeah, I will see you in the next part where we'll talk about Grok, XAI, and DeepSeek. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Ciao.